Hey there, this is our HR case presentation on the movie Up in the Air. I'm Alex Molter.
And I'm Aiden Mavrodoglu. So the introduction. So um, the movie Up in the Air came out in 2009 and it explores the emotional and the ethical challenges that HR professionals face when conducting layoffs. The film presents a realistic view of workforce reduction during the economic uncertainty. This analysis focuses on employee termination as a core HR issue shown in the movie, and the situation is evaluated using HR theories related to organizational culture and workforce planning. The three strategic solutions are proposed to address. We came up with three strategic solutions to address the issue, and then we selected one as the most ethical and effective based on the two chapters from the textbook, which were chapter two and chapter five. So basically, just a quick overview on Up in the Air. It was a the man is he's hired to fire people basically because the company themselves doesn't want to do it. And then a girl comes in and she basically tries to rewrite how it's done, how the whole firing process goes, and tries to move it online or virtual to make it cheaper, less flights to give out and traveling, quicker and more efficient, and just to kind of, and then it's just easier basically. And he didn't agree with it and thought that there were some ethical boundaries that they were crossing, and that it's a lot harder to tell someone that they are being fired from their job when they've been there for years and they don't have a fall off plan. So yeah, and it kind of just goes on that story.
So the HR issue that we identified is pretty much like he just said. Up in the Air highlights the shift from the traditional in-person layoffs to the remote terminations over the phone and video and stuff like that. This change reflects the growing trend in HR to use technology for cost reduction and the operational efficiency. The film questions whether such efficiency-driven methods are appropriate for delivering these emotional, heavy news to these people that are not, some not expecting it, some expecting it, but it's still hard news. And it kind of just challenges the balance between technology convenience and human sensitivity. The main character, which is Ryan Bigham, experiences this. He experiences face-to-face terminations for their empathetical and emotional support. His approach emphasizes human element in HR, even if it's more time consuming and expensive, because you do have to fly and go to these different places. But yeah. And then Natalie Keener, the young analyst, she promoted the digital approach to layoffs as faster and more cost effective. But this film reveals the emotional damage and the ethical concerns that arise when these terminations lack personal interaction.
So now we're going to talk about the two concepts from the textbook. So we did chapter two, which was the organizational demands and environmental influences, as well as chapter five, workforce and planning. So for chapter two, the chapter highlighted um, how the organizational culture, employee concerns, and how technological shifts can affect these HR practices. And then related to it, the film, the transition to virtual terminations challenges the traditional expectations of justice and the emotional respect, kind of the empathy and the ethical boundary in the workplace. And then to chapter five, workforce planning. So this chapter focused more on how companies can handle their labor surpluses, including layoffs, the outsourcing and downsizing in companies. So these strategies are central to the movie's plot and the ethical concerns it raises. Because the big thing with in the movie, the big problem was the ethicalness of, all right, is this okay? Because it's hard. Like people go and like the big thing was like, how are they going to go and tell their kids? How are they going to support their kids and their family when when they're paying their house payment every month? Like when they're living paycheck to paycheck to then not have any money. And it was hard to then deliver that news and then them just be broken and they kind of have to balance both. All right, you got to sympathize with them and kind of find a happy ground and see where they can grow from this, or how they can better themselves and see it as a learning opportunity and not necessarily why is this happening to me? And that like my life is over in a sense.
So the first out of our three solutions that we proposed was Natalie's proposed solution involved conducting layoffs remotely through the video conferencing. And this would be supported by structured scripts and training in empathy and emotional intelligence. The scripts would guide HR through the key talking points, including severance, benefits, and the next steps for this employee that is getting laid off or fired and stuff like that. Um, so this method is efficient, cost effective, and it is definitely scalable for the large scale layoffs. This would reduce travel time and expenses. And then it would also provide a consistent message and minimize the legal risk through the standardized communication. Um, However, with these remote terminations, they can feel cold. And like it is emotionally detached when like it's not human face to face and it's like remote like this. So these people are not ready. Some are not ready. They don't know this is happening. So they're gonna feel unprepared, very distressed because they don't know, like they're not gonna know what to do in a lot of these situations. Or abandonment when they've been with this company for a really long time and they get laid off because it's business and that's business. But um it's hard. And then that can damage morale and it can definitely damage the company's reputation. But that was our first solution.
And then for our second solution, um, so this strategy follows the main character Ryan Bingham in his in-person method, where he meets one-on-one with the employees and is more supportive and more respectful in a more respectful environment, kind of like one-on-one in a secluded area where it's just y'all two, and you kind of have all the time to kind of just let that person sit there and talk. And it allows real-time emotional connection, observation of nonverbal cues, and immediate access to follow-up support. So services like the outplacement coaching or grief counseling can be provided on site to help employees process the news and transition smoothly. And this approach aligns with the corporate social responsibility and the ethical HR practices. So while effective emotionally, this method is resource heavy, which requires travel time, and logistical coordination. It may not be practical for large scale or geographical dispersed layoffs. In the movie, they had a lady that said that she was going to go jump off a bridge, and Ryan had told Natalie, "Hey, like, don't listen. Like, it's just what people say when they don't know what to do. Like, it's just her like coping. She's not really going to do it." Um, and it really stuck with her, and she was worried. And then they found out later on that she did go and jump off that bridge, and and that just creates that emotional connection where when you're there and like you can actually hear their voice and able to like talk to them, you're able to one-on-one kind of reason with or not reason, but like see their side and like understand and try to help. Um, because when they did it online, they were able to in person they're able to give them a packet to help with the to take their steps in their future. However, online they just have to tell them, hey, there should be a packet in front of you. Kind of look over this. And then she had to kick out one of the employees who just got laid off because he was just sitting there and he didn't know what to do, and she kind of had to raise her voice at him, and which is not something you want to hear when you're just got laid off. And then to piggyback off of the requiring travel time and the logistical coordination, I mean, Ryan had a card and got 300,000 miles, flying miles, which only 7 people in the world had ever done. And he was the youngest person to ever do it, just because he's flying all the time. I mean, everything he kept was in his backpack, didn't have a house, had no attachment to family or anything. And he literally, when his home, he said, was like the airport. So it does require a lot and it is very emotional because you're alone, you're by yourself, kind of just doing your own thing, and it can be hard.
Yeah, so the third solution that we came up with, the hybrid model would contain empathy of in-person terminations with also the effectiveness of the virtual communications. Um, and these virtual communications would use secure video platforms and a trained HR staff to deliver the message uh, compassionately to a level that is okay and not like someone that doesn't know what they're doing. Um, the follow-up calls and emails to help maintain connection and provide continued emotional and logistical support. This method would recognize the emotional weight of layoffs while also embracing the practical benefits of the modern technology. Pretty much the best of both worlds, solution three. Um, though it requires investment and digital tools and training, it reflects a strong commitment to the employee's dignity, and it also offers a very scalable, ethical solution for today's increasingly remote work environments. So solution three is like a great solution. It's pretty much the best of both worlds. It combines um, everything you want from solution one and everything you want from solution two, and pretty much combines it. So.
Yeah, so our best solution is the hybrid approach.
Mhm.
This hybrid strategy, it's the most ethical and practical option. It balances compassion with the cost efficiency, and supports the ethical boundary of it with the employee dignity, while also looking at financial constraints. And then by combining technology with the timely emotional and professional support, this approach directly addresses the concerns in the movie, and it reflects the best practices in the modern HR management. So, according to the textbook, respectful terminations enhance employer branding, they reduce the legal risk, as well as support emotional well-being for all staff. And the model is especially adaptable, especially for today's remote and hybrid workforces.
So the conclusion, the movie Up in the Air offers a powerful look into the emotional and ethical complexities of employee terminations. Um, it serves as a valuable case study for examining strategic and HR practices. Um, it recommends a hybrid approach that balances business efficiencies with compassion, grounded in HR and principles, and it ensures both companies' goals to employees' dignity are respected, while also like not wasting time and money on flying so many places and doing it all in person. But as the technology reshapes the workplace, HR professionals must design innovative strategies that would maintain ethical standards as we move forward. Human-centered practices remain ethical, essential even in the digital world. So yeah, pretty much that.
And these are references.
References.
Um, Thank you
Thanks
for
for
listening.
listening.